All right, everyone. So, welcome back to the Horeb Nation Talk Show. This is going to be another edition of the show, and I hope you're all doing well out there. Yeah, like it has been announced. So, we're so sorry, for rescheduling the whole thing. It was supposed to be some hours, before, but for reasons that were beyond our understanding. So, we have to, reschedule it just for convenience and for every one of us. Thank you so much for being here today. So on Horeb Nation Talk Show, we talk about every type of situation, but basically these days we've been into relationship, marriage, everything that affects the young people in our generation. And today, we will be receiving on this show, two very important people that I've known them for a while. I've been with them, but their story is what matters to us today, so want to hear from them. Talking about relationship, we have people that get married from the same race, same culture, but we also have intercultural relationship. And then there are so many things that are involved when you get yourself into intercultural relationships. So we have a first-hand expression, first-hand people that will actually tell us, the experience, how they move from the first one to the second stage of their relationship. So today, I'm going to introduce you to, the man in the house. They say women first was in this situation. I'm going to start with the man and then we'll bring the woman. So let me introduce you today to Mr. Justice Obioha. Hi, Justice.
Hey,
How are you doing?
I am doing so great and I'm happy to be here. So thank you for inviting us.
I mean, thank you so much for for accepting to be here. I know it's a very busy schedule for this time.
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to be here.
All right, so if you have Mr. Justice, we definitely have Mrs. Obioha, who is also here with us in the studio. Hi, Margaret.
Hi,
How are you doing?
doing well. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate this. I know, like I just told Justice is being, everyone we know school is resuming soon. There are a lot of things to do, but you still find a way to be here. That's really great. Thank you. So, guys, that's it. So today we'll be talking about intercultural relationship to marriage. Moving from relationship to marriage. So these two people you are seeing right on the screen, they are the perfect example of what we're going to be talking about. And you guys, if you are ready, please, we are live on Facebook. You can actually check the screen on the screen. You have my social media platforms on Facebook, Horeb Nation, TikTok, Horeb Nation. If you also go on Instagram, you have Horeb Nation underscore Nation 360. So you can go on YouTube. We are live on three platforms right now. So your comment, if you have questions for them, yes, feel free to actually drop those ones. So we are going to be having them. If you're all ready, let the show start. All right, guys, welcome back. So we have our guest in the studio. We'll be talking about intercultural relationship today. So my first question, it's very simple, and this is going to the two of you. I don't know who is going to answer first, but if we go biblically, they said the man found the woman, the woman found no. I think it's the man that finds the
It,
woman.
it doesn't
So
matter. It doesn't
it doesn't matter.
matter.
Okay,
Anybody
so
can go first.
so, Justice, let's start with you. I knew you in Nigeria, so I don't know you to be an American. So let's start from there. Uh, how did you get to meet Margaret?
Well, thank you so much again for giving us this opportunity to share our story. Marguerite and I, we were classmates. We were doing our master's program at the University of Mississippi. I was doing a graduate program in French and linguistics, and my wife was doing her master's program in Spanish in the same department, and we were classmates. I think that's the most important aspect for us to talk about today is the fact that we started as friends and we were classmates at the University of Mississippi, and so we became friends, and from there we are here today.
We became friends, and there we are here today. So, what attracted you? Oh, Mrs. Obioha, how did Justice, like, how did he get to talk to you? What happened? Because I believe if it was in 2020, what year was it that you met Justice?
It was in 2020.
2020 was in the pandemic, so people were not even seeing their faces. So how did they see your face?
So we actually met in a Zoom class because we were still on lockdown. So all of our classes were virtual. So we
Yeah.
had two classes together in our master's program and we met on Zoom.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So you met on Zoom, and then that was how we. Sir, can you tell us how did you? What did you say? What did you say to her the first time on the Zoom? What happened?
Well, so as God will have it, some of the classes we had, how in Zoom they divide these classes and they put people in the same room, like breakout rooms. So we would be in the same breakout rooms and we'll be, brainstorming on topics and bringing solution to problems that professors give to us or questions that they give to us to respond to. And we I was interested in her. I saw her, I liked her, and I
So
reached out to
on the
her.
confession base, you were not just brainstorming. You were
No, I mean, we were actually, I was actually brainstorming, but then
okay.
when you see something or someone that you like, it just registers in your mind. So physically I was attracted to her just by seeing her on on Zoom. But also, I wanted to, see who she was in person. And at some point, we scheduled, a meet in person, and a meeting in person, and I think we had our first meeting in Lamar Park. Or you may remember where
At the
Lamar Park
University of
is.
Mississippi, Lama.
Yes,
Okay, yeah, right
so
in
that's
Oxford.
absolutely, that's where we had our first meeting. We still have our first pictures, but again, it started from friendship. I saw her, I liked her, we became friends. I became her friend on Facebook. I also went to her Facebook, which again, some people may consider this as creepy, but it's not. I went to her Facebook. I went to look at her old pictures. I went to look at everything about her to make sure that you know I am meeting the right person. And then when I met her in person, it was nothing short of the things that I already saw. Right.
That's great. Well, I don't want to cut you short because I think we are having people that are joining and actually saying, okay, let's see if not God said, oh, you are brainstorming meets okay, brainstorming meets beauty. Like I said, so you were not just it wasn't just brainstorming, and then you have Sasha from the department that say, hey, so she's following, she knows everyone them.
I'm so happy to
Hi,
see
Sasha.
Sasha.
Yes. So yeah, everyone is actually following. Now, whatever messages they drop, I'll be putting them on screen for you to
Sounds
see.
good.
Margaret, let's get to you. So when this young man, introduced himself, so how did you feel about it?
Um, well, I honestly went into my master's program saying that I wouldn't be in a relationship, that I was just focusing on God and my academics, and I would be open to a relationship after I graduated. And I really spent time working on my relationship with God and pursuing God. And I've heard that when you start focusing on God and not actively looking for a relationship, that's when the right person comes along. So that's actually what happened. I was doing a 21-day fast and praying for my future spouse. And I had no idea that I had already met my future spouse in one of my classes. So it was pretty awesome just to see how God worked in that situation. And the first time that I talked to Justice, we really connected on our faith and our spiritual walk. And I knew that there was something different about him that really attracted me to him, that was different from other guys who tried to talk to me in the past. He was really concerned about my spiritual growth and my well being as a person. And I found that really attractive.
Hmm. Really attractive. Okay, if you guys, if you're out there, you actually listening, so you see, you can actually feel what women actually want from a man. It's not like they want someone that actually, want to talk about their well-being, their spiritual life, and not the other ones. So I really don't want to talk about the other ones. But let's see. Emmanuel said this is really awesome. And then this is Professor Victor Ariule. It was my professor at the University of Lagos. Since he's following, he's a professor. He said the lady looks like a Barbadian. Okay, and this is actually brings me back to talk about Magri. I know we're talking about intercultural relationships. People will be wondering, like, what is intercultural here? What's different? Can you just now tell people where you are from and who you are actually?
Yes, so I am from the United States. I was born and raised in Mississippi, and we currently live in Texas. A lot of people have told me that I look like I'm from different places. I've been told that I look Dominican or like I'm from Latin America. I've been told that I look like I'm from the Middle East, just all over, but I'm from the United States. I'm a Black American.
Okay, so Prof, she's a Black American. Okay, anyway, the language says you look like. So looking like doesn't mean you're from there. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Getting to know what you saw in like how you get to reply to um justice. Now let's get back to the relationship started, and at some point you discover that this is like the person that is meant for you, like we said. Now, being from a different culture, did you like feel, now this is for Margaret, did you like feel like, well, he's an African and I'm from here, and like, did you feel any type of way? Was that first thing, like, did you feel like, no, I don't think this is not going to work?
Well, actually, before I met Justice, I thought that I would not marry an African man, and I've shared this with him before because of my misconceptions about African men. I thought that they were very controlling and domineering. But after I had my first conversation with Justice and I saw his heart for God and his heart for people, and how he's very caring and loving, I knew that that wouldn't be the case with him. But before getting to know him, yes, I was a bit hesitant.
Yeah, definitely, because that's where we're getting to the question of misconceptions. Because there are a lot of misconceptions that Black Americans have towards Africans, and Africans also have towards Black Americans. And one of them is being that African men are actually controlling. So I was thinking that that could have actually come to your head, like, no, I don't want a man that will control me, like tell me I can't do this, I can't do that. So far so good. Are you trying to tell us that justice is not controlling?
Yes, he's not controlling.
Okay. Now, I'm still with you. What other misconceptions have you heard of Africans that you can actually bring out and then tell us about how you feel with justice when it comes to those misconceptions?
Another really big misconception that I heard about was that African men didn't like to cook and clean, that they mostly leaned on the women to do that in the household. And Justice is quite the opposite. He loves to have a tidy home. He's always willing to clean, and he also loves to cook and is a great cook at that. So I am just really thankful that he loves to do both of those things and he really values teamwork. So, us taking turns cooking, us trying different recipes together, us cleaning the house together, or if I'm not well, he'll take it on to do himself, or if he's not well, I'll do it. But we just really value teamwork as a family.
Okay, anyway, if Nigerians, you're out there, an African man, you have a brother that is really representing you well here. So I definitely have to tell you that. And let's get from, what was his name? Okay, according to Brand, he said, great love story. And then here we are. I think Sasha is back again. Let's hear what she has to say. He said, watching Justice grow into who he is and meeting Margaret, marrying her was so heartwarming. He's definitely a great guy and a man of God. That's beautiful. That's beautiful to hear. And again, we have according to Brandy said, I've heard about all these misconceptions. It is great to, I think she didn't finish what she has to say. Yeah, all these misconceptions are out there. Now, it is justice turn. Justice. I know there are also misconceptions about African American women, and I'm definitely want to know, like, what were the ones you've heard, and how did you try? Like, did you try to see if you're going to see them in Magri, or how did it go?
Well, again, thank you. I wanted to, chip in something on the first question you asked about conviction and how we made up our mind that this was it for us. Before responding to the second question you have, so when we met, in person at the Lamar Park, we talked about several things. We talked about our future plans and the things that each and every one of us, wanted in life and wanted in marriage and all the things. One of the first things or first steps that I took, I communicated this with my wife today, was that I wanted us to take a moment and also pray. Now, I had my conviction that this was the person, right? I never made any decision without asking God for direction, but I wanted each and every one of us to have something to fall back on, like hear God's words specifically and unequivocally, just hear it and have it as our record. And we had for 2 weeks we didn't talk to ourselves. We had time to pray. She was praying from her end, I was praying, and at the end of that 2 weeks prayer and fasting, we were absolutely assured that this was it. And so that's anytime we have any cultural differences or anything that seems to kind of affect where we are, we always tend to remember, where we're coming from. We remember God's word, what God said concerning us, in those 2 weeks of staying apart and seeking God's face. Now, talking about the question that you had.
Misconceptions, yes.
Yeah, misconception. Well, I used to think that, not just Black Americans, but I used to think a lot of Americans were, materialistic, that is, just buying things and all of that. But when I met my wife is absolutely the opposite. And I'm not just saying this because, we're in this meeting, but when I met my wife, she already had like savings. She had money that she kept for her savings. She had something that she was doing for retirement. And I was like, you are so young and you're already planning for retirement, So, but, having her, build those structures for herself, gave me something to think about, gave me something to fall back. And I'm like, well, this is a good person. She's not materialistic. She's not, that type that says you have to have this, you have to have, you know, um, car or have this amount of money before we can say I can say yes to you. As a matter of fact, when we started, I didn't have a car. We didn't have a nice. I didn't have a nice place. But today, we the story has changed. So I didn't see her as a materialistic person because just getting close to her, I saw that she's absolutely different from what I was thinking. And secondly, it was just her passion for God. I used to also think that some other persons, just didn't have that compassion about, community, God, and family. These are three areas that I was really, really, that to me, it was like a standard for me. For me to marry anybody, you have to be someone who is open to building a community. You have to be someone who is about family. You have to be someone who is about God. So I thought that, with the way our situation, our community and society is, a lot of persons are not, you know, and I'm sorry to say, but majorly a lot of Americans are individualistic, right? But I didn't see this in her. I saw someone who is ready to build that community, someone who is ready to accept someone from other places other than America, someone who is open-hearted. So, that misconception for me was not what I saw in reality.
Okay, that's beautiful to share that with us. Let's take some comments and see what we have. Okay, that's a Pastor Young. I know he's in Nigeria. Say great work, Mr. Horeb. Thank you so much. And then I have Muidini Bitowa say belle histoire. Okay, so anyway, Justice understand that. So how do we say that in Spanish? This is a beautiful story. Actually, there was another person. They wouldn't know they are translating, they're helping themselves. Somebody said belly store, another person said beautiful story. Definitely, they don't know each other. Yeah, the two comments, they don't know each other. This is Regina, is a member of our church here. So it's a beautiful story. And then I have Imane say, Chai, one day I will have someone to call my wife as justice is calling my wife. Okay. And then finally, we have okay, according to Brandy, say having shared values is necessary to build a healthy relationship, a marriage, so that you need to. Now, uh out of all this conception, misconception, or whatever, there is one that is very sensitive, and this is going to Margaret. Usually when an African man, especially approaching, a black American, the first thing, a black American woman, they think probably he has kids at home, or he's married at home, and he's just here. Didn't you think about that?
Well, yes, I did ask him questions. Just, I didn't think that he did, but I just wanted to make sure that I asked so I wasn't assuming.
Okay.
Because when I had the first deep conversation with him and he told me his life story, he didn't mention anything about having a very serious relationship in Nigeria or having kids or anything. So I thought he didn't, but again, I didn't want to assume, so I asked him to be sure.
Okay, great. Muhyiddin has said, he said, Buena Historia. Anyway, so now the second one is this. Again, when an African man here, I've heard it several times. Another misconception is he wants to marry you because he needs a green card. I know people would have told you that. Don't you think this guy just need a green card? That's why it's coming to you.
So no one actually said that to me. Maybe some people were thinking that, not anyone in my family, or if they were, they never told me that. But again, it's not something that Justice expressed wanting because his plan wasn't originally to even come to the US to study. And then he was planning to go back to Nigeria after he was done with his master's program. And so it just so happened that God had planned for him to stay here and for us to get married. So the green card wasn't his intention.
Justice, do you have something to say?
Absolutely. I again, the Bible says that the steps of the righteous are ordered by God. And
Okay.
for me, I am one person or a person that loves to be that loves to be ordered by God. I believe that I'm a man under authority. So there's nothing I do, without consulting or seeking the face of God for it. Um, for me, when I came into the US in 2019. As a then, the whole Japa syndrome in Nigeria was not in existence, and I wanted to go to Canada. In fact, Canada was what was in my mind to go to, but as God would have it, I got admitted in about three schools, and I prayed about it, and God led my step to University of Mississippi, and that was where my wife and I met. And I said this because some people they get interested into someone because of what they wanted to get. For me, it was the opposite. It was more like, this is who I am. This is what God has called me to do. This is my vision. I came to my wife with a vision. I came to her with my plans. I came to her with my life vision. This is where I want to be in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. These are my plans. So it was like, getting married because of paper. That is important, but that's not the issue. I think that, you know as you know, we have celebrated our second year anniversary, and when you marry because of such things, your marriage, you don't enjoy happiness in that marriage, because your investment or your thought and your mindset is based on what you want to get. And when the other person finds out that you are being fraudulent, you know, lying to them for something you wanted to get, it becomes a place of war, and there won't be togetherness in the family. So I'm all about family. I'm all about building together and working together with a vision, running with that vision that has been written in my heart, and that I've communicated to my wife, and my wife has communicated her vision to me. So that was our focus, and not just on the paper. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Those are that's really nice to hear. You know what your focus was and what it turned out to be. We just want people to know, actually learn from all these and stories, because what it is out there is not really what is happening. Those
Absolutely.
misconceptions are really out there. And you have some questions from the comment section. Regina said, how long was it before you got married? She said another misconception is that African men want to marry quickly. So they said, yeah, I've heard that too, that once African men met you, the next thing they want to talk about is marriage. So they are fast to talk about marriage. So
Well,
how long did
yeah,
you?
I really love to respond to that question. The truth is, it's not just that African men like to just get married quickly. It's when you know what you want, when you know what you want in life or what you need in life, you go for it. And when you go for it, like you're just coming in with your conviction that this is what you want. Not, um, I would rather be married to someone that I love, that I trust, that I've communicated my visions to, and the person has bought into my vision, and I've bought into their vision, than to be, dating around. If you understand what I mean. So, like, what is the essence of just, being in a relationship for 20 years, for 10 years, for 5 years, not getting settled? So, like, when you know what you want, you found what you want in that person. I think there's no other reason why you should keep that person waiting, especially again, if you're convinced that this is the person, you have prayed about it, you guys have talked, you have found equal grounds and values, then there's no point waiting. Again, I'm not speaking for all African men, I'm just saying that for me and for the people that I've known, again, when you also have a good relationship with God and a good relationship with people around you, it is easy not to not to bring misconceptions into that relationship, and it's also easy not to allow the standard that the society has set to creep in into your relationship.
That's pretty cool. I've answered this question before to people. And apart from, let's take it away from the fact that, okay, you convince, but I do say in African culture, I want people to understand this. I've said it several times. Like in my culture, there's nothing like having a boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
So immediately you are found talking to women, they know the target is that you want to get married. So is it easier for you to communicate that out, on the stage? So, but I think here in America, the culture is quite different. It's a long, like it has a process. You have to do this, you have to get to know, you have to be this, you have to date, and then until a certain level, because before you can actually profess that you want to marry someone or that. So back home where I come from, it's a quite different thing. Like me, I want to take a girl to my sister or my mom and say, this is my girlfriend. She will be like, what are you trying to say? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, even if you don't say anything, they just assume that
they
okay,
they
this
assume
person
that
is
that's the
someone you're
person you
looking
want
at
to
getting
marry to.
married to.
Yeah, it's like it's automatic. So when people say, oh, they quickly talk about marriage, I say no, they are just telling you when they meet a woman, that's what they should be, that's the expectation. If that's not the expectation, I wonder what it is. And someone asks, they say, Mr. Justice, your surname Obiohas sounds Igbo. What state are you from?
I'm from Imo State, Nigeria. I was born in the eastern part of Nigeria. I grew up in Lagos. I did my NYSC in the northern part. I would tell you that I'm an all-round person, all-round Nigerian.
Okay, so Justice is from Imo, and Regina said, yes, I love that. Now, that's the explanation you gave. She was the one that asked the question about marrying
Yeah.
quickly. So, thank you for responding. And this takes me, to question of culture. And then we'll be talking to Margaret at this point. Justice culture is different from yours completely. I remember, in the early stages, even before marriage, you were like you drop messages in Igbo on Facebook, and I was like, what's going on here? Like someone is really, really interested, in justice culture. So how did you get to nurture that love and then for African culture being Igbo culture?
So I have always been interested in other cultures, hence my interest in Spanish and majoring in Spanish as an undergraduate and also getting my master's in Spanish. And so even my mom said that she was convinced that I was going to marry someone from another culture. So it was really easy and it came naturally for me to just embrace all of Justice. And that includes his culture, his language, everything about where he comes from, and it wasn't an option to me. It was just something that came naturally.
I thought I was there with you. Okay, that's great. But I want to know, do you still remember anything in Igbo language in those things that you learned?
Eh.
Okay. Okay, tell us something in Igbo language, probably. Justice will, I don't speak Igbo language, so Justice will help us.
Ndewo. Kedu?
Ndewo.
Odimma.
Okay.
Horeb, you're supposed to know that.
Of course, I know. Of course, I know that. But it is today it's actually her day. So and then you were supposed to be the one to answer, for
Yeah,
us to
I
know.
responded. I said
Yeah,
Odimma.
I heard your response. Then wow, I'm also from Imo State. You are so real and I love it. I might consider taking your step too, bro. Well, that depends. I don't know anything about you taking a step. He answered you. Margaret said, Odima, one name. Okay. What does that mean? Just is one name?
My brother or my
Okay.
sister.
Oh, my sister. Okay, that's really good. All right. So we keep moving on. Now, because you bring the question of your mom, you talked about your mom earlier. These are people that I've met once or probably two times. And I was kind of wondering what was their feeling when you told them about Justice, someone from Nigeria. And then I'm also going to ask Justice how people back home felt. But before then, let's listen to your mom. You actually thanking people that came on your this was the practice before the wedding, if I actually
Yeah, it
you
was
know
before the wedding. Yes.
yeah, remember. uh okay, let's see what happened. So let's watch that quickly, and then we will be right back.
And for my tomorrow, my son-in-law, Justin, who has already become a very important part of our family. So we are so thankful for the two of you. And y'all, we have some warriors today working on our behalf. I cannot say enough for everyone who dug in and helped us. We have sisters and friends and aunties and people who have just come to the rescue. So I thank each and every one of you, especially people who could have been at the Jackson State game. Let's go Tigers. They came here to be with us tonight. So we just thank you.
So, all right, guys. So that was Justice. Margaret's mom thanking people when I was actually there. I was the one filming on that very day. So I took part of that for what happened on that very day. So that was really really great. But then before we start talking about talking them how your parents feel about the whole thing, let's go on this break and then we'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back to the Horeb Nation Talk Show. So we've been here, for like 30 something minutes earlier talking about intercultural relationship, and then we've received the Obiohas, Margaret Obioha, and then Justice Obioha, who have actually been sharing with us, their journey, how they met, things that happened, the states, Now we are actually moving from them being friends and then deciding to come together. And then before you do that, in Africa, children or whatever they are, they don't fall from trees. They have parents. So how did the parent actually receive this information? That's what we'll be talking about at this section. And then my first one is actually to ask Margaret about the reaction of your parent. We saw your mom, now your dad standing, they were actually thanking people, but I want to see what happened before that stage?
So they were very accepting and they thought it was really cool that I was dating a Nigerian guy. My dad actually had a mentor who is a Nigerian man, and one of his best friends from college is Nigerian. My mom grew up with Nigerians as well, so they had a very positive perception of Nigerians, and they thought that it was really great that I was dating a Nigerian person.
It was really great dating a Nigerian person. So now your turn, Justice. I know people from Nigeria, from Africa. Definitely, there are. I do tell people in those days, all the Black American movies I watched were those ones in which you see them with smoking, gang. You know, those are tarnishing image. They actually probably want you to know about them, and then here we are. We have a young man from Nigeria that comes here to study. Now he's telling us he found a woman that he wants to marry and she's Black American. What was the reaction back home?
Well, I'll tell you, shocked. You know, like again, like you said, a lot of misconceptions, generalization. You know, sometimes our parents or people around us generalize things. You know, you talked about watching a movie and seeing people smoke, and a lot of persons don't want to have that for their kids. But that was a different thing when they met with my wife, right? When I introduced my wife to them, for the first time, my mom asked questions, my dad asked questions. They embraced her. They saw someone that is different from what has been projected out there. In the watching films, from the US and in Africa and all of that. So again, it's like having it, talking to the person, one on one, and then you see that this person is absolutely different. So my family was supportive; they were accommodating, and up till today, they still are being supportive and checking in with Marguerite and making sure she's doing okay and checking in with us. So it's been yes, awesome.
Okay, so we said the two families actually accepted that they wanted to be together, and then willing to do that. And this happens this night. What was in your mind? Let's see.
Let's do this. Let's do this one hand at your back. Like this place, the instrument, red, blue. Like this.
All right. So that was actually a beautiful night whereby preparing with your groomsmen and then you took over the show yourself. What was in your mind?
I mean, I was happy. I was probably the happiest person in that room, that night. Again, it's like when you are in a place where you're accepted, where you're loved, where you like everybody's interested to know so much about you. Everybody wants to connect to you, and people are not judging you based on what is general information from Nigeria or from Africa. You're just happy, and the happiness just comes naturally, flows from you. So I was really excited that night that I'm gonna be marrying a friend of mine the next day, and someone who I have also spent time to, grow together with, to build things, structures, together with. So for me, I was, never regretting. I've never regretted that decision. So that night for me was full of happiness. It was full of joy. That I also had the support of my friends. You were in that room as well, and I had
Yeah, I
all the
was.
support of my friends. Everybody was rehearsing and happy. So it was happiness and again looking forward to the future. We didn't see 2 years from that time, but then we're in 2 years now, and I'm so happy that God has made it possible. for us.
Okay, that's great. I'm going to ask Margaret the same question, but her own is going to be, but maybe some minutes before, some minutes exactly before coming together. So let's look at what happens there when you were sitting, with friends. You tell us what was in your mind, how you were feeling.
And for my tomorrow,
No, don't worry, don't worry. Put your head. Just a short video. Martin, that was beautiful, your song. Right.
Oh, I didn't know the camera was here.
That's TJ. Oh, yeah, get back to you. Okay, Adriana. Martin. Yeah. Okay, well, this TJ. She. Come on. Is this secondly? Am I getting it? No, okay, okay, good. Yeah. See, she. Anila, okay, alright. This is the Igbo, Euro Africa man. This is, I was telling, okay, yeah. Say something, say something. This is Dayu.
Next in line.
I don't want to see next in line. This is next in line, Dayu.
I already
No, actually, right now it's coming, so.
And this is Annabelle.
Annabelle, look up. Annabelle, look here. Oh, yeah, good, yes. Yeah, all right, super. All right. So, Margaret, what was your mind? What was happening at that moment? I know you can actually, you were looking at it, you kind of, what state, you're in what state at that moment?
I felt like I was living in a dream. Like it wasn't real. Like, did I really just get married? Is this real? Like, yeah, it was unbelievable.
So, now, because we are trying to, bring to this to the end. Now, you've spent 2 years. You just celebrated, 2 years recently in your marriage, and definitely, I know there've been ups, and downs and all that. So, what can you actually see in general? How? Because we've known people who actually got married and they couldn't even spend 1 year. Some could not even stay for 1 month. We've had situations like that, but you've actually spent 2 years, and now you have a beautiful daughter. Before you actually answer that, how did you get about her name? Who chose the name?
So,
Can I respond to this question
Yes,
real
you
quick?
can.
Okay, so funny enough, my daughter's name, I'm still laughing, was chosen by my wife. You know, when we found out the gender of the baby, we did the gender review, and she came up. She had always loved the name Chiamara. Okay,
Chamara. Okay.
and I didn't have any issue with that. I'm like, yeah, that's a cool name. Let's Chiamara is a very beautiful name. Let's give her the name, and that's how we came about it. But let me let her.
Yeah, I actually want to know why Chamara. Margaret, why did you choose that name?
so my mom had a coworker, someone who reported to her named Amara. And after meeting Justice and knowing that he is Igbo, I found out that the name Amara means grace in Igbo, but I didn't want her name to just be Amara, so I found Chiamara. And I was like,
Gospel.
this is so beautiful. God's grace. This is
God's grace,
perfect.
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's beautiful. God's grace, Chiamara. Okay, now let's get back to the probably the last question I actually have to ask. It's how have you been able, to cope with the ups and the downs? Because I know people said marriage is not a bed of roses. So you've had your ups. Uh, let me start from Margaret. Was there any crazy thing like this young man has done so far? You feel like, no, I don't know, like I didn't know this about him.
No, nothing crazy.
Nothing
Um,
crazy.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
will definitely say that marriage is a journey. You have to work at it. It's not something that comes easy. It's constant work. You have to put in the work daily. And the way that we have reached 2 years has really been through leaning and depending on God to help us understand each other, to walk with each other, to support each other through good times and bad times.
Well, for this man asking, are you guys in different locations holding this interview? Well, they are in the same location. I'm the one in different location. They are the same location and definitely in the same room. Okay. Thank you for asking. And
But
just
we're actually in the same house but different rooms.
different rooms. Okay. Yeah. Actually, I would have, what they were expecting is like having the two of you sitting together. But because of the screen
Yeah,
positioning, it wouldn't have space for,
and
two people.
network. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I was looking at. So Justice, let's take the answer from you. Like, how has it been for 2 years now?
I must tell you, it's been awesome. We've had challenges, but we have been, for us, we see challenges as a stepping stone to greater heights. So we don't just, take challenges and say, oh, this is it. Where sometimes our cultural differences, come in, we tend to sit down and see, okay, what is something that we have to do with this. So it's not like we're not building a Nigerian home or an American home. We're building a home that accommodates both the Nigerian and the American. I think I was telling you in one of your meetings how for some time I didn't eat jollof rice, and the reason for that is because my wife is tomato intolerant, and it wouldn't be right for me to cook that. And in as much as she would love to eat that, she couldn't eat that because of tomatoes. So I had to find another way to make that happen. To cook that type of rice without putting tomato in it, and
Wow. So you
but
created your own. You
yes,
create
I created.
justice jollof.
I became creative, and as God would have it, after delivery, my wife, was able to eat jollof rice. So again, it's being patient with one another, understanding that even in the same culture, people still have differences. People still have, emotional differences, and different areas of differences and all of that. So it's not just a matter of being from different coming from different cultures. It's just a matter of being patient with each other, understanding each other. One of the core scriptures that we have that guides us is the fact that love is patient, love is forgiving, love does not hold record of evil. So for example, if I do something right now that is hurting to my wife, was maybe I said something that is not great, I don't mind to say, hey, I'm sorry. It doesn't stop me from answering the name Justice Obioha, and she does the same thing to me. So it's like you model the things you want to see. For example, if you want to see forgiveness reign in your home, then you should model it. If you want to see grace, function in your home, you need to model it. If you want to see loyalty and love and peace, you need to model that. It's not just saying, oh, I want love to reign in this family, and then you're not modeling it, you're not showing it. So I would tell you that it's been awesome. We've had our differences, and by the special grace of God, we're growing. And you know, the major thing for us, the major success story for us is the fact that there is God in between us. Okay, like God is the foundation of this home. And if I take you on a tour to our house, you will see things on the wall that captures who we are as a family and what we intend to do, where we intend to be, the vision that we have. It's really important. And the last thing I would say is also the fact that we work together as a team. This morning my wife had an exam, and before that exam, I had been she's been needing to study. We just got back from a trip where we had to plan for the year 2024, and when we got back, I had to stay with the baby. I had to give her time to study. Now, if you want to build a beautiful home, if you want to build a happy home where everybody is succeeding, the baby is succeeding, the mother is succeeding, the father is succeeding, then you have to again model what you're looking for. Give each other grace where people are not doing it well. You give them grace and you model what you want them to do. So, like, I would hold the baby, I would change the baby diaper, and just make sure that she has the time for herself to study. And this morning, the result of that is that the exam was supposed to last for 5 hours. This beautiful woman here did that exam for 2 hours, and
Wow.
she got back home. So
Wow.
that's what celebrating. And I know I said this was the last thing I was going to say, but I just remembered something I wanted to add. Celebrate every person's success.
Okay.
Celebrate, no matter how little that success is, celebrate it. Celebration could be, it doesn't have to be exorbitant, it doesn't have to be expensive. Just do something to, like you are the number one, like, you're the cheer, you're like, I'm like her fan. I'm her number one fan. She's my number one fan. Like, working together as a team, there is something we want to achieve. For example, she wants to buy a car, for example, and we're like, okay, this is how much we're willing to put into this. We'll go get it. That's a family thing.
Okay.
I want to get this, like working together, achieving one goal.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much for those. But before we go, Robin said, "Hello everyone. Hi Robin. Thank you for coming. Someone is clapping for you. For you, ma.
I
You are
think
the
that was a
best.
question. Yeah.
Yeah, you are the
And we're open
best.
to receiving all the questions, please.
Yes. Now I have a question here. Muidin said, "Do you plan taking her to Nigeria anytime soon?"
Yeah, absolutely. We, the trip to Nigeria, as an African who is living here, that you don't just say you want to go to Nigeria now, you just fly to Nigeria. You have to plan it. You have to make sure that you have make sure that the person is going to be comfortable, and all of that. So, yes, we are going to go home soon. Yeah, you're welcome, Mudin. Yes, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
How do I say? Those are the key things I actually have to, share with you guys. I really want to say thank you, for finding time, to come to this show today. I know it was a little bit difficult, and definitely as time goes on, I will also want to have you back again as time goes on, as progress. It's just like a progress if we continue with this show as time goes on. So Mrs. Obioha, right? I don't want to say mix because that's how we know in Nigeria, part of Africa. Mrs. Obioha, so thank you so much for being on this show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, Mr. Justice Obioha, thank you so much. I really want to let people know that, well, if I'm in the USA today, so you are the reason. Just like you, I never wanted to come to the US, but you made me, appear here. When people say, "Why are you in Mississippi?" I was like, "Go ask Justice." So he made it happen. If not, I wouldn't have been here at all. Thank you so much for that. So I
Absolutely.
hope to see you guys, next time again, on this show. Thank you for really, really taking part. I really appreciate.
Just give us a call. We'd always love to be here. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, so guys out there, I really appreciate you, for coming for this show. It's really been wonderful, talking to Mr. Obioha and then Mrs. Obioha. It's been wonderful having the two of them on the show, sharing the experiences with us. I'll definitely see you guys again next time. Emmanuel Owoka, I'm so glad watching you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate you. Okay, I'll see every one of you next time when we see. Bye.